Hey, how's it going, everybody? Okay, let's try that again. This is the test to see whether or not I'm actually over this stupid summer cold. What's up, dudes and dudes of the year? My name's Scythe, and we are back here for some more Trove and PS4. That should probably be how I say it from now on, because that's just disgusting. I am still sick. Still coughing a little bit. Nah, see what I keep sneaking in the videos? Perfect. I don't know what the meme is. You'll have to pardon me, because I'm still sick and under the weather. Hello, Uggles Club. This place has gotten kind of gross because, oh no, it's Polo Kid! This place has gotten kind of gross just because of the fact that the other officers don't actually go into the Discord. That'd be nice if they did. Everybody keeps asking, and yes, Dino Gaming ended up winning the Pinata Mount Dragon thing that we gave away in the last PS4 episode. I know that for the longest time, so many of you have actually been saying, could you tell us who actually won the last prize in the next video? I would, but sometimes I'll bulk record a couple episodes, and it's just, well, I guess ultimately I'm not really in the habit of doing it, so I might end up slowly transitioning into that just because of the amount of feedback I've been getting on it. But at the same time, it's like, even though I'm giving stuff away, that's, you know, that's not the big reason people are coming to the videos. At least I would hope that maybe 10% of you come to watch me or get the new scoop on everything that's going on. So less than a week. Go away, get out of me. Less than a week, everybody. We've got the Eclipse update hitting, which is crazy to think how quickly it's hitting after the Mantle of Power update, like seriously. Not to mention the fact that they've been doing the whole, like, each week has been a different quest event. I mean, all of them are just copy and paste, kill 1,000 zillion enemies for an item that you don't want, but it still is cool. Like, I do like the fact that Trove definitely feels like it's starting to become more active and more pro-productive, where it's like you kind of get to actually, like, do stuff. You know what I mean? Even if the grinding itself is still a little bit gross in some regards. So, the big thing that we're going to talk about today is the changes that are going to be happening to some of the current top classes in the game, as well as some of the current underdogs in the game. Now, underdogs normally gives the impression that, you know, a class or something like that is not really that valuable, but still has its strengths. That's not really the case, because in Trove's case, it's like the Knight. Oh, okay, that was a more serious cough attack. I guess I still gotta be careful. But yeah, so the Knight, for example, he's just not very good. If you end up making him super powerful, then yeah, he's okay, because you can actually go into a dungeon, cast your #1 with your class gem ability, do a Shoryuken, jump into the air, yippee! Weirdest animation in the game, and you will actually one-shot a U9 boss. Not necessarily a 3-star, and if you put that same amount of damage on any other character, you would guaranteed kill a 3-star boss, like no problem, just because the damage calculation on the Knight is not as good as some of the other characters. But, anyways, yakety yak. The big thing that's going to be happening is the Knight is going to end up changing in the power-ometer. He's not getting a rework yet. Devs have talked about how they plan to eventually, because the Fae has actually been getting quite a bit of a rework done, and we'll talk more about that in a minute, because the Fae is actually, the Fae is going to end up being quite good when the Eclipse update ends up hitting. But the Knight, I mean, you're going to want to have a 20 kpr Knight just so that you end up having extra movement speed while on a mount. And the way that the subclass abilities work, I didn't talk about this in my main subclass videos because we didn't know at the time. Of course, now we do know, so I'll make updated tutorials and all that stuff after the update ends up hitting. But it's based, like, the stat that's based on power rank, the passive ability, that's going to end up scaling up for every 5,000 PR you end up having. So if you're under 5,000 PR with any of your classes, it means that you're going to end up getting, like, let's say for the Knight, for example, you're going to get the smallest amount of movement speed buff while you're on a mount, right? And then if you end up actually getting 5,000 PR, that's going to go up 10,000, it goes up, 15,000 goes up, 20,000, that's the last one. Because when the Eclipse update hits, we don't know yet, because this was just on the test server, you know, like a month or two ago. But the, actually, I think it was like 5 months ago, I honestly don't even know. The total amount of PR you're going to be able to get is at least 24,000. Maybe it goes over. I don't think that we're going to possibly be able to get to 25k PR after the update, because I think with a lot of the subclass abilities, it would kind of break things. Not to mention the biggest of all, just being the fact that they're trying to kind of have this update a little bit more balanced. In that, you know, it's not necessarily balanced well, but it's like, it's, you know, they don't want us to all go overkill and get like 26k PR being the total, so everybody can get 25, which means all the subclass abilities of whatever character you have at 25,000 PR would end up being that much stronger. So yeah, you're gonna want to be getting your knight to 20k if you can. I have hit mine at 20k PR on the PC version. Thankfully, I just had enough gems and gem dust to actually pull it off. And then I'm never going to end up touching him again until they end up actually upgrading him and fixing him. The Fae, on the other hand, oh man, the Fae has gained a huge, massive buff just to the class in general. Most of all, just because the #1 ability, like your Fae Bomb, actually stuns enemies. Very, very effectively, I might add. Very similar to the subclass ability, except the subclass ability for the Fae is a chance for the bomb to end up spawning and stunning. And as we've seen in the, you know, if you've seen my other tutorials, you know that that bomb itself is not really that useful if you're being chased by a single target. It's more for like a big group of enemies that are all just kind of huddled around you doing massive amounts of damage and potentially killing you, because max health is getting a huge nerf when that update ends up hitting, because the devs desperately want us to get max health on our gems. But we're not going to, wise guy, because getting more damage is always going to be the priority. That said, crit hit is going to end up becoming one of the most useless stats in the game, just because you can actually get very easily, I might add, up to like 130 to 140, probably even over that, maybe even a whole 150 crit hit percent, just because of the fact that you can augment your gems now. So I talked about that in my gem augmenting and re-rolling tutorial, but again, that was on the test server, so I'll end up making a better, more condensed video when the update ends up hitting, and I can actually get footage and kind of explain things a little bit better. But anyways, we'll talk more about that in the future. Most of all, I just wanted to share the fact that the Fae is going to end up seeing a massive buff and actually becomes one of the most useless characters. One of the most useful characters. Cough Attack, one of the most useful characters in the Shadow Towers, just because of that constant stun. Like, you can literally stun lock enemies. So if you have even more than one Fae, it's crazy. And the abilities, like, let's say you take the Neon Ninja's ability, which is if a Titan boss is at 20% health, or just any enemy, honestly, but Titan bosses are the only ones where you're going to end up noticing it, where they get to 20% health and then you're going to end up doing over triple damage. Now, that actually scales with the Fae Trickster's ult. So you're essentially tripling your damage, or quadding your damage, I guess, because, you know, when you use your ult, you pop down 3 stabs that end up doing the same amount of damage you do. And then you can attack alongside the staves as well, or staves, however you want to pronounce it. So essentially that's doing quad damage. So you're going to be doing over 3 times damage on quad damage. And it's a lot of fun. It's overkill. Like, seriously, the Fae Trickster is so powerful when you end up actually popping that thing going on, right? Hello, Wicked Zone GT. He's like screaming at me right now. Sorry, dude, I like cannot type on the consoles at all. Like, seriously, it's too slow and I'm just bad at it. And then last but not least, the Neon Ninja is actually going to become the, like, absolutely useless in Shadow Towers. He's still gonna end up being a very fast farming class, if not the fastest, like, dungeon farming class in the entire game. He is right now, and he probably is going to keep that title, just because of the way that he's designed and the amount of movement speed that you can end up getting. However, I will admit that I'm tired of the Neon Ninja, dude. Like, I really am. I'll talk more about that in a PC video just to give more detail into why, you know, I think that it's gonna actually be a good idea for a lot of people to actually swap off of their Neon Ninjas just to vary it up. But for today, most of all, I want to talk about how the Neon Ninja is gonna be useless in Shadow Towers because of the fact that the crystal skulls, is that what they're called? I think so. But the skulls that you normally can attack in the Shadow Tower to charge up your shuriken, those end up going invisible when you activate them from the Eclipse update and onward, meaning that the Neon Ninja cannot charge his shurikens on that platform, so you can't snare the enemies and keep them away from you. And because of the fact that not only is max health getting a huge nerf, but the Neon Ninja has always gotten one shot by everything, so long as you end up having a proper damage build, that he's just useless. Like, there's no benefit to actually having the character in Shadow Towers. Maybe because you could tag one enemy off in the distance and use that to build up your snare, but again, it's counteracted by the fact that the Fae can actually do all the stun locking now, right? And also, just to answer this right now, because lots of people always ask, Gunslinger is the highest damage in pretty much the entire game. Not really that fast for farming, just because of the movement of the class. But in Shadow Towers, you're gonna want to end up having the Gunslinger with your class gem ability, just because what it does as far as scaling is concerned is insane amounts of damage. And if you end up using the Candy Barb's ultimate ability, it's gonna give you a speed boost for your attack speed. And then on top of that, I'm wondering whether or not having the subclass ability on the Gunslinger, like the Barbarian subclass ability, which has a chance to give you even more attack speed, is that going to end up being over max attack speed, in which case we're not going to see a benefit, or is it going to actually give you even more attack speed and thus the Gunslinger becomes that much more useful? I don't know. Time will tell. We'll see what happens. I gotta rush this video out to all of you folks, so I just wanted to cover some of the basics of these things and give you a little bit of a taste as well, because again, I'm going to be talking about this stuff in a lot more detail next week when the Eclipse update ends up actually arriving, and I can get some hands-on, not only footage, but hands-on experience, because there's still quite a few things that I'm curious about, like, will the Knight subclass ability work for the Dino Tamer's ultimate ability? You know, when you use your ulter, you're going to end up gaining that extra movement speed buff. Will it end up working with the Tank Turtle, essentially making the Tank Turtle become one of the most effective and best mounts for grinding dungeons for people that can't end up affording bombs and don't end up having really good dragons or something like Fortress and stuff like that, right? So time will tell. There's a lot of really exciting things coming right around the corner, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Very much appreciate it. Today we're going to be giving away 5 Streamer Dream Boxes. Sorry, we're not going to be giving anything too fancy away. I'm going to save most of those for when the Eclipse update hits, but these boxes can end up giving you exclusive streamer allies, wings, and a mount, and anytime you end up opening them, if you've gotten them in the past, it's going to always end up opening a new item for you. They're untradeable, by the way, so be careful of that. Nintendo Gamer, my good friend, is going to let you know who ends up winning. He'll reply to a comment, because all you got to do to qualify is hit that like button and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Then you'll get a reply from him. Otherwise, thanks for watching, everybody. Don't forget to subscribe, share, favorite, like, whatever, all of that good stuff for more content, as well as to build up loyalty points that you can use to redeem for rewards going on my merch store. And speaking of my merch store, we've got a new design coming right around the corner. Hopefully it's going to be able to hit before the end of the month. We got to do like one other minor color change to it, and then it's already pretty much done, so you expect that video next week. And then in that video, I'm also going to talk a little bit more about the loyalty points and how that ends up working, as well as potential future rewards for those of you that already have end up, you know, use the 10% off in my store, and you're sitting there going, I've got so much loyalty points, man. I want all this other stuff. Don't worry, we've got some stuff planned. Either way, thanks for watching. Sayonara and stay epic, everybody.